And you have access to the results.
Yep, I do.
So we need to invite the candidate back to the room.
Hi, Usama, there's a point of order from APEF.
Yes, APF Portugal.
Denise, APF Portugal, we would just like to mention that we didn't have the interdelegation time. Although APF didn't think it was necessary at this time, we still need to apply with the things we voted on the GA. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have, yes, again, Denise?
Denise, APF Portugal. We would also like to mention that many of these didn't have both of their hands up, and I'm not talking when we are voting, just in general during the closed discussion. So we would like to ask everyone to keep their hands up. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, the APF Portugal. We'll be making sure to reinforce that during the next separate discussion. Can we have the candidate back in the room?
Yes, I'm back in the room.
Perfect. So the 68th General Assembly would like to thank Ms. Sokhna Diaratola for her application and congratulate Ms. Yifan Zhu on being elected as Chairperson of External Relations for the upcoming mandate of 2022-2023. Congratulations.
Can I say thank you to everyone?
Yes, you can have.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone, for voting for me. And I will for sure not disappoint. I will try my best to attend all those conferences and events in person and try to get as many partnerships and sponsorships as possible for our organization. And I look forward to working with every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we will be moving on to the next election. For the Chairperson of Professional Development, we have received, please refrain from using the chat box for other matters than the official work of the General Assembly. We are at the election of the Chairperson of Professional Development. We have received 4 applications from Mr. Mayat Tukiao, Ms. Ura, and Mr. Alex Shayan, and Ms. Sidruch Kambaksh. Do we have all nominees in the room?
Present.
Thank you, Ura.
Hello, yes, and I'm here.
Thank you. Nice.
Alex present.
So we will be proceeding with the motivational video. For the participants.
Hey everyone, my name is Matthew Chow. People usually call me TK, and you might be familiar of me being the IPSF Chairperson of Asia Pacific Regional Office. And right now, I'm running for the position of IPSF Chairperson of Professional Development. So my main motivation on joining PD are 3 reasons. One is to improve the current formal and informal professional development opportunities to bring you high quality programs and introduce new topics to you for exposure and interest. Second is to proliferate PD at the local level by assisting and supporting member organizations in organizing PD. And third, to exude pharmacy pride and the spirit of community within the global pharmacy community through more visible pharmacy profession awareness. So what exactly are my plans, you may ask? So one of the talking points whenever we talk to members sometimes is that going to IPSF events, especially PD events, can be intimidating, perhaps because of its competitive nature or how it is competition rather than a learning opportunity for continuous learning. So I aim to change that perception by lowering the barriers to participation by providing more training support and learning opportunities before the competition and being more consistent with how we narrate and move our PD events as embracing continuous learning. So for 4 events, namely patient counseling, I aim to mix in real-world scenarios together with elements of OSCE as we execute our large-scale face-to-face PC events at World Congress 2023. For clinical skills, I aim to bring in more exposure talks and discussions surrounding the latest drug development and clinical practice. For example, emerging evidence of biologics and SGLT2, asthma guideline practice and update. And I also aim to provide more diversity in how CSE can be experienced. For ISC, I aim to bring in either one of the new topics on HTA as well as pharmacoepidemiology, which can be our core critical skills in health economics and regulatory affairs. We will also have to demystify CE to a lot of MOs and develop strategies and guidelines on how we can execute CE better, more effectively at the local level. And fingers crossed, hopefully we can compound something at the World Congress this year. And I've also outlined how I will support the Pharmacy Pride and United Pharmacy movements to bring our pharmacy profession together and communicate the value of pharmacy profession to the world. If you'd asked me 2 years ago if I would run for PD, I would say you must be crazy. However, my students and working experience actually have inspired me to bring better development opportunities for students and future generations, and also to develop our competencies with pride. Thank you, and I look forward to receiving your questions.
Dear Distinguished General Assembly, I am Urejibani Ukurafo, candidate for Chairperson of Professional Development. Thank you for this great opportunity. In this video, I would like to express my motivation, qualification, and plans. With a strong passion and dedication to IPSF, my vision is to enhance pharmacy students and recent graduates' hard and soft skills by organizing various top-tier professional development events with a structure that works. I'm highly motivated as I am one who thrives in a challenging environment. I'm a natural-born leader and a team player. Over the last years, I have spent time developing my skills for professional development, from serving in the IPSF Professional Development Committee during my global LIT as an intern in the 2019-2020 mandate, to serving as the IPSF Compounding Event Coordinator in the 2020-2021 mandate, and finally, in the 2021-2022 mandate, serving as an IPSF Policy Committee member alongside being the contact person for PANS Nigeria and organizing various PD events. I have laid down plans, goals, and strategies in my nomination form that I'll use throughout the mandate to tackle 4 main challenges. Firstly is with media and publication, especially with Motion 69 passed as the 68th General Assembly. I would like to work with the Chairperson of Media and Publication to avoid too many postponements by setting up a PD media team. Secondly is with funds, collaboration and grants. I plan to reach out to partners and sponsors and follow up with them from the very beginning of the mandate to avoid last-minute response. I plan to collaborate with various IPSF portfolios, and I plan to provide grants alongside capacity building programs to encourage member organizations to organize PD events. Thirdly is with tentative event calendar and delegation of tasks. I would like to work with the PD coordinators to provide a tentative event calendar for PD events to avoid interference and keep PD alive. Also, delegation of tasks evenly to all PD committee members to avoid burnout and increase motivation, alongside producing various trainings and regular meetings and fun activities. And lastly, collaboration with the training portfolio to keep the training pool active and increase the number of training committee members. I can't wait to be on the team again. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Hello, my name is Alex Shintiai, a fourth-year student pharmacist that attends Palm Beach Atlantic University in Florida, United States. Please allow me the pleasure of introducing why I should be considered for this policy development position. I will try to explain why I want this and what I can bring. The important criteria for being a qualified candidate for your selection include being an excellent student representative while doing my due diligence to work hard with and for a team. When I truly have a passion for something, I do not settle with just getting by. And I have a passion to advance the profession of pharmacy internationally, to empower students for their own personal and professional development, and to increase involvement. Please allow me to describe my recent background. My future aspiration is to pursue a fellowship in industry and continue learning clinical knowledge, but ultimately it's to be an active member for professional societies. There is so much great work when we come together in organizations like these, and it's why I was so proud to be involved in our national organization here in the US called APHA. As a member of FIP Young Pharmacists as well, and following the big impact that IPSF has made, I would love to contribute my time and efforts to the IPSF Executive Committee to continue the great work the team has done. There's a great deal of examples I listed in my application, and I'm always responsive to answering any questions on LinkedIn, email, or phone. But to summarize some of my experiences, my journey has taken me from helping plan an actual live convention of over 150 students, to creating social seminars and conferences for over 25 students, to drafting a proposal request and programmings for national virtual summits, to analyzing policies in our national health system, and to producing social media campaigns for Pharmacy Legislative Week. I've managed interpersonal dilemmas at the micro level as a class president to tackling legislative tasks cooperatively at the state level. I've helped host crucial conversations on difficult but important topics, while simultaneously being proactive in events highlighting equity with accessibility. I've been searching for a passion project that can energize me, and by chance, it's this side that I've been looking for in IPSF. I've had the pleasure to work with executive leaders, association presidents, to talk directly with senators and representatives, and even work with many deans and provosts of schools. As a student leader and an honor society leader, I try to provide moral, spiritual, and educational support. I consider it an imperative obligation to provide the best mediation to facilitate, whether it be reaching out with family, counseling, or fellow peers. I'm very excited to work with this outstanding team, and I look forward to helping develop and propel the missions and strategic plan we lay out for the committee. Overall, I have taken note of the incredible successes and methodologies that leaders have employed in councils I've joined. One is clearly supporting the team and recognizing the goals outlined, and second is always communication, and I hope to bring that. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.
Hello everyone, estimated members of the General Assembly. My name is Shridroh Kamash, a last year pharmacy student and a patient and dedicated member of IPSF, and I'm applying for the position of Professional Development Chairperson in the upcoming mandate of IPSF, and in this video, I would like to express my motivation and elaborate my goals and plans to show you why I am candidated for being the next chairperson of the PD. In the last mandate in the PD committee, I was the clinical skills event coordinator, and in the previous 2 years, I was one of the member of PD committee in IPSF, and also I was the professional development coordinator in IPSF. I also have experience acting as the PD chairperson of IPSA Iran at national and local levels. My 5 years of experience in the professional development portfolio has made me realize the necessity to achieve 5 main goals, which I would like to reach in this mandate. My first goal is to schedule the activities of the PD portfolio in a manner that they start within 2 months from the beginning of the mandate and continue regularly without any time interference with other projects, so more IPSF members will be able to take part in the project. Second, I would like to bring together various portfolios of IPSF, such as public health and pharmacy education, through some mega projects, and also I want to have some cooperation of different PD portfolios to hold inter-portfolio competitions, such as formal Olympics and escape rooms, to widen the range of knowledge and experience of IPSFers. Third, I intend to implement more interprofessional projects in collaboration with the chairperson of external relationships to raise more funds and seek new grants opportunity, which will expand the message of IPSF to students in other healthcare professions. My next goal is to introduce new projects such as simulation workshops and case-based learning camps to the PV activities, and last but not the least, I intend to organize regular meetings with RPOs, coordinators and PD committees, and also some PD chairpersons in member organizations in order to support and motivate them to advance the goals of IPSF and PD committee. So I'm nominated for this position to achieve these goals, and I'm hopefully the PV team will attain these goals and more in the next mandate. And I would be honored if you give me the chance to be a part of this journey. Thank you very much.
Kishan, you can share.
Okay, then, so thank you for your motivational speech. We have heard from all 4 nominees. Now we can open the floor for discussion. Please use the Google form to submit your interventions through the speaking system. We have the first question, and before we proceed, the questions must be addressed to all nominees. And for each question, we will be starting in a certain rotation. So for the first question, we'll be starting with TK, then Ura, then Alex, then Shidroch. And for the second question, we'll be starting with Ura. So Maria, IPSA Lebanon, the floor is yours.
Maria Unsi, IPSA Lebanon. Thank you all for all your presentations and efforts. IPSA would like to know, why haven't you nominated yourselves in the first round of elections? Thank you.
We start with TK.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the question. I have 2 main reasons why I didn't nominate myself in the first round. I think the first one is that I want to find a greater reason why I want to run for this position. I am very, very much attached to IPSF community as a people person, but I want to have the work being the center of the reason why I'm trying to run for this position. Therefore, I went for purpose finding, and by time it was more aligned with second call. Second, I was completing this mandate's responsibilities as the April chairperson. Therefore, I want to complete my responsibilities well, and therefore I focus on completing my responsibilities and wait up for the second call. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question. The main reason why I did not submit my nomination in the first call was because at that time I was still functioning as the contact person for Plans Nigeria, which the election just held during our national convention, and I have handed over. So the events, the World Congress and the convention were clashing. There was no way I could focus and dominate and bring out a good application form when I was working towards that. Yeah, thank you.
Now, Alex.
Thank you for the question. So sometimes, you're led and not necessarily walking in. So for me, the opportunities weren't really shown to me. I had a great opportunity that people have actually recommended that I take this position. And originally I wanted to join the committee, but I thought if I could do something more, if I could reach for something higher, if I could provide that service, then I would make that attempt. And so I made that nomination for this second session. Thank you so much.
Shidra.
Hello, everyone. Actually, at the period of time for the first call, my plans for the next year wasn't clear, especially for my university. But now my plan is clear, and I know I have enough time for this position. So I applied for the second call. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have for Portugal. Valeria, the floor is yours.
Valeria, IFFL Portugal. First of all, thank you all for your applications. We think a PD calendar would be ideal for us as CPs to organize and conjugate the PD activities with our own. So do you plan on sharing one with us, and when would it be shared? Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question. Yes, I actually plan on making a tentative PD calendar at the beginning of the mandate. But first of all, I'm going to release a survey and share it to CPs and RPOs to check what IPSF members actually want from PD this year. And with that, I work with the PD coordinators to produce a tentative calendar, also work on a GNAT chart and everything, so people will know their roles and there will be no interference, and PD will be alive throughout the mandate. Thank you.
Thank you, Ura. Next, we have Alex.
Thank you. So important, obviously, is always stepwise approach when facilitating engagement. First would be a meeting with the community development, setting up their timeline, making sure they understand the instructions and also when we plan on doing it. So making sure we have an idea of when they're available, when they feel like the best timing is possible, and meeting that with executive committee. And thereafter, having a calendar, that's very important to be able to produce for all the committees, and then having to communicate that in a productive way. So that could be through the messaging boards, but also just relaying back, just get a confirmation for every single section, such as Portugal. Have you guys received my message? Just to make sure you guys have an understanding. Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, and from now, our general plan is clear. In first half of the mandate, we will have our interregional competition, and in the third quarter, we will have some interprofessional collaboration. And the fourth quarter is for GA and World Congress and Symposium, but the details and the final annual PD calendar will be released after 1 month when we, announce the coordinators, and after consulting the coordinators, we will fix the PD calendar and share with the CPs and MOs. Thank you.
TK?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the question. For me, my term as an RPO 2 mandates ago, having a calendar did help with execution of projects and communicating these to the contact persons in April. So I intend to have the calendar again. However, I wish to speak to my predecessor if I were to be elected, as well as the coordinators to solidify the plans. At the same time, update the guidelines for individual events, and also roll out the needs assessment survey so that we can better understand the local association's needs, and adjust the timeline accordingly. We do anticipate those interprofessional collaboration projects to be later part of the mandate, but I guess we can anticipate the calendar will be in the first quarter if I were to be elected. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Asepa Algeria. Suhaib, the floor is yours.
Algeria. First of all, thank you all for your nomination forms and your motivation. As you know, the professional development chairperson position is quite the challenging position. And in your mind, what do you think are the most needed changes for the portfolio or the position as a whole? Thank you.
We'll start with Alex this time.
Thank you. So first thing, I think we have an understanding that in terms of how we're doing organizing this meeting itself is the importance of the thing we call SMART goals. Organization, we say that a lot, but what does that exactly mean? So really when I think of SMART goals outlining how I'm going to create these projects, you're doing these things to save time, to make sure you can reach those goals. Because everyone is going to have projects and they're going to feel like they have a weight on their shoulders. So it's important, let's say, for those coordinators and committees to know that everyone's on the same footing with how we're sort of going our missions. And adjustment I would make is analyzing conflicts. So if conflicts arise and work balance is important, we know some of these are students, I can see how maybe a coordinator might be overwhelmed if they're working from home, if they don't know what the process is like. You have to make sure you have those good transition roles. So the first step is kind of top-down approach, making sure our leaders understand what they're doing, why they're doing it, and how they're doing it. And obviously you need someone at the helm that can be effective and be able to just communicate with that, making sure they understand what their points of views are. And if
Excuse me, Alex.
Yes.
We have 1 minute limit for answers.
And I appreciate it. Thank you.
Next, we have Sidra.
Yes, I think one of our biggest challenges is our relation with our member organization, our partner organizations, especially student organizations, to have interprofessional collaboration, and also finding sponsors for our competitions. And to prevent the challenges, we are going to prepare our calendar from the beginning of the mandate and preparing the proposals and send it for potential sponsors. To start speaking with them and cooperating with them from the beginning of the mandate, to have enough time to do these projects. Thank you.
TK?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the question as well. There are 3 answers actually to your question. I think as an overall, I think I have 2 main goals. One is to actually have a very large scale execution, physical execution of PT events at World Congress. I think that will be one of my main focus or main target to make sure that happens. And secondly, it's very hard to detail down to what we can do with one broad blanket statement. So for example, CE needs a lot of demystifying, ISC needs a little bit of also a bit of demystifying, and also a bit of innovation in terms of the topics that we offer. For CSC, it's really about deepening how we do case questions and question and answer, for example. So I've outlined some of these things in my nomination form on what I intend to do in this little small PD events, so we can look forward to that. But other than that, my broad vision is to make sure that face-to-face large scale happens well at World Congress. Thank you.
Thank you.
very
Yeah.
much.
Yes.
Thank you very much for your question. For the biggest challenge, I think for my mandate, what I will focus on is having as much PD events as we can, but yet having it in a structure that actually works. So I would go for the traditional PD events first, making sure that we have the interregional competitions, the Farmer Olympics, World Congress, and all of that. Then move on to new innovative ideas. So that is like the main focus. Main focus would be on traditional PD events and making sure that it is successful. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Anna France. Marion.
Thank you for your application. How do you intend to increase the attractiveness of the professional development events to wider public? Thank you.
We'll start this time with Chitra.
Yeah. Actually, in IPSF, we have different member organizations from all over the world, and also in IPSF team, we try to choose our members and coordinators from all the regions, and we can ask them about their needs in their association and in their curriculum of education, and also we can send some Google Forms to ask the need of MOs and their preference to have the projects. Thank you.
TK.
Sorry, thank you, Chair. There are two things. I think I'm a hospital pharmacist. So if there are anything that I can help you watch over is patient counseling and clinical skills in terms of keeping it relevant to the actual practice. For industrial skills and compounding, honestly speaking, the last time I did compounding was in freshman year, so I don't really know a lot about it. So I intend to learn, especially for industrial skills events. I need to learn from alumni, see what is considered relevant, and I hope to incorporate these things into what we do. So there will be a little bit of ground sensing phase to set up the system and structure that we're going to, or we intend to roll out in the later part of the mandate. Yeah, that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question. For the first things first, like I said, we're going to be releasing a survey to get what MOs and CPs actually want, like what member organization actually wants for PD this year. And also we'll be using the results now to all the MOs and the regions that has been having this event and successfully organizing them. We'll reach out to them for guidance, advice, and also with the help of my predecessor and my coordinators. Thank you.
Okay, I think the last part, I think you mentioned wider alternative
Yes,
caps. And so I think in order, first off, to get to the wide approach, make sure things are in a timely manner. Obviously having the date set out and being able to communicate at a timely approach so that people are aware of it. As far as the different competitions, I think it's effective to do what we do best. As I mentioned before in my application, I have actually hosted national competition for the clinical, for patient counseling, and I actually do work on projects where we do the industry. So what I'm open to is open to modifications, but being effective in what we already do, and then also possibly having extra events thereafter. We'll make sure we're effective what we want to get across first. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Asif Algeria. So hi, the floor is yours.
So Asif Algeria, first of all, thank you all for your previous answer. As of my current question is in regard to the training program, how do you plan to either improve it or fix the ongoing issues that has been plaguing this program since this mandate or the mandate before? Thank you.
TK.
Sorry, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Can I clarify on the question on the repeat, please? Sorry, couldn't hear the question properly.
Okay. So Asif Algeria, First of all, thank you for your previous answer. As for my current question, in regards to the training system, how are you planning to either improve it or fix the ongoing issues that has been plaguing the program? Thank you.
TK?
Sorry, can I clarify something about training program? Yes, really sorry, I really cannot hear. Something about training program?
I can write the question if possible.
Chair, would that be okay? Thank you so much.
Yes, TK?
Sorry, Chair. Actually, because I couldn't hear the question properly, I asked the person who raised the new comment to write the
Okay.
in the chat box. Yeah.
Thank you. So the question reads, in regards to the training program, how are you planning to either improve it or fix the ongoing issues? TK?
Okay. Sorry. Thank you, Chair. Can I clarify? Is this referring to the training program for the IPSF PD events, or are you talking about the training committee that was with PD 2 minutes ago? Can I clarify?
Yes, Asif Algeria.
I've written the answer if he doesn't hear me, but that was me talking about the events mostly. Thank you.
Yes, TK.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, this is training program or sometimes lack of knowledge lack of awareness of the presence of training program is something that was given to me as a feedback by MOs, even in my region where I currently working now. So what our intention is I think is preempt a little bit in my form. One is to keep the training conscientious, and also making the training as one of the core elements as the preparation phase before the competition phase. So in a sense, we are going to have more posting on the training programs and also lower the barriers, lower the intimidation so that people can learn and joining the learning process and join the competition process. So what I'm saying is more post, more training, and let's see how that can help to lower the barrier of participation and less intimidation. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you. Ura?
Thank you very much for your question. Regarding trainings, we'll be having capacity building sessions for MOs and PD, chairpersons of MOs, RPOs, so that they can be able to organize PD events. And also we'll be having trainings like introductory workshop for every event, every PD event that we want to host. So they'll be very much aware of what they are going into the competition. Then also regarding the training committee that the PD committee is currently assisting, I would work with the training coordinator and president-elect to make sure that there is increased number of training committee members, an active database of trainers, so that trainings from member organization requests can be fulfilled, and just have the normal trainings for IPSF team, regional working group, and the rest of them. Thank you.
Alex?
Thank you. Yes, so for training, you can have as many documents or emails you want to send, but when people have that information overload, that's when you kind of get hiccups. So a great opportunity is just what we're doing now, is having a simple Zoom session before with the training coordinators, with the different committee leaders, with all the members in the committees, be able to have them have a Q&A session, ask any questions, and just do a review of the itinerary. Make sure we know what the flow is going to be. Make sure everybody's on the same page. That way we're effective. If you know how it's going to be planned out, then everybody is going to seem like a seamless transition to the people participating. I think that's the most important step. But obviously, working with the training coordinator is the make sure go through the hierarchy. Thank you.
Yes, as PD team will help and support President Elect Committee to handling the training sessions. For TDC, we will have
Thank
some.
you.
Can I continue? Sorry.
Yes, Shubha.
Yes, we will support President-elect Committee to handling training sessions. For TDC, we will have a smooth relation and communication with Euro and APRO, RPO to holding the TDC sessions. And also, we will send the request for trainers as soon as possible, about 2 months sooner than the latest sessions, to have enough time to get visas and do other necessities. And also, we will suggest President-elect Committee to have some competition and focus on the soft skills. For example, to have some formal debates competitions. And also, we will have collaboration with President-elect to do some projects. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next, we have a question from LPSA Lebanon. Maria, the floor is yours.
Maria Ansi, IPSA Lebanon. Our question is, how will you ensure the timely communication about events with the respective contact persons? Thank you.
Thank you. Laura?
Thank you very much for your question. This will be ensured that from the setting a tentative PD calendar that we work with. Not only that, we're going to also work with the Media and Publications Committee so that they can produce draft promotional materials on time, and we can produce the dates, the final dates to the MOs, so that the communication would not be shaken. And also, I would reach out to sponsors from the very beginning of the mandate, so to avoid last-minute response, so that we can secure the sponsorship before the event. And also reach out to speakers and make sure that there are more than one speaker at the event, just so in case one of the speakers is sick or something comes up. Then also, like I said, work very much with the Media and Publications team, because they have to assist us with making promotional materials that we need to send, and also work to have an even delegation of tasks to PD members so that they can all do their work on time and everything be ready to be sent to the MOs and to the CPs on time, and make sure effective communications in the mandate. Thank you.
Thank you. Alex?
Thank you. So I've worked on different virtual summits as well as creating actually conferences. And when I want to have programmings, or when I want to request for proposals, or I want to have requests for speakers and host different projects, the important thing is to consolidate it to one type of communication. I don't want multiple chats, emails, and things that going on. So things like either a Drive or a Google form where we have the meeting notes, everything is cleared, it's laid out, making sure I'm overseeing it, that it's organized, and make sure there's follow-up, but that there's one directory for everybody, for all the coordinators and committees to go to, so they can also see any updates. And that's the most important thing, consolidation. Thank you.
Next, Shitrov.
Yes, and we are going to inform CPs about 1 month per year starting registration by sending them call for participants and proposal. Even the media team haven't prepared the posters. We will attach them and send them after the time, but we will inform CPs at least 1 month per year. Thank you.
Thanks. TK?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the question. I'm aware that there are 3 weeks before the event. that is needed to that's being mandated for the PD to share the information of PD event stream prior to the event. I'm aware of that. I have two strategies. One, project management effectiveness. So one is that as an RPO, what work for me is the calendar, and I back plan the calendar to make sure that I have planned way ahead of the events to make sure the preparatory work are done. I also intend to follow through, have regular meeting with coordinators and team members who are working on particular event to make sure that the plans are followed through. So effective team management and project management is one way. Second is to make sure work closely with MNT, chairperson and the team to make sure the publications are on time. Otherwise, also to develop the plan for any publications that may be delayed due to various reasons that are outside of our control, PD control. Have a backup plans, like for example, having an ad hoc or backup designer to assist with the designing while there's maybe some delay, for example, that we might not have anticipated earlier. Yeah, that's all from me. Thank you.
Sorry, TK. Thank you. Next question is from IPSF Egypt. Mustafa, the floor is yours.
Mustafa, IPSF Egypt, thank you so much for your nomination. Our question is, what are, regarding for your plans, what are the new ideas or improvements that you plan for the professional development portfolio? Thank you.
We'll start with Alex.
Thank you. So I did kind of mention an application. Important thing is hosting and setting up panels on these learning events with the committee leaders, making sure that we understand that we're creating the different projects. First, we're doing those before introducing anything new. I think we've had a lot of great, effective competitions, but we kind of had a little bit of lack of participation in the last few years, obviously being COVID, having issues. So if it's possible, having Zoom sessions to be able to interact with people. From there on, the options is just to make sure I'm supporting the role of the different coordinators. So I don't want to necessarily create something new out of thin air. I want to make sure those 4 key elements have large participation across from all the different regions. Let's do the clinical, let's do the patient, let's do the industry, let's do the compounding, because there's a lot to gain from that, both professionally and for students to develop them themselves. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Shitrach.
Yes, we are thinking about to have some projects in collaboration between different portfolio of professional development. For example, have some escape rooms and some programs such as formal language, and also we are thinking about some competitions which focus on soft skills. And also we are going to have some simulation workshops and also some case-based learning camps that can be online and also offline, and prepare some proposals for member organizations to have some face-to-face campaigns and send them and support them to have some especially prepared campaigns in their member organization. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next, TK.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the question. I've outlined it quite quickly in my form, but I'll go through it again. So for patient counseling skills, I intend, because I'm a hospital pharmacist, I intend to infuse a little bit of real world scenarios and in terms of injects together with the OSCE format that we are already been very used to as the baseline of patient counseling event to make it more interesting by incorporating real world scenarios. For clinical skills, I intend to have more clinical discussion on the latest development in clinical guidelines or new drug evidences, because I realize we don't talk about it, but we just go and take exams. Yeah, so I just want to have more clinical discussion on that. As a form of webinar, for example, or panels when the new pieces of evidence come out or new guidelines update. For ISE, I intend to introduce health technology assessment, a health economic tool to measure the cost effectiveness of new medications or pharmacoepidemiology.
TK, can you hear us? It seems like can you hear me?
Yes. Can I go ahead? Okay. Thank you very much for your question. First of all, before the new ideas, I would like to focus on the traditional PD events and make sure it's successful. Then after that, I have new ideas for each of the portfolios when we talk about
Okay,
ISC.
good. So I think we have, yes, thank you.
Can I go on? Okay. So when we talk about ISC, we talk about new webinar series on pharmacovigilance, macroeconomics, marketing, and regulatory affairs. When we talk about PCE, I want to have interactive PCE in more than one language because IPSF is a multi. IPSF has various languages. And when we talk about like PPAC, I want to focus on webinar series, focus on biotechnology, forensics, and the rest of it. And when I talk about PD as a whole, the new idea I have for it in mind is called Health Olympics. And I would like to collaborate with IFMSA for this event. It's going to be a case-based event. We're going to have, so we're going to have a competition with both medical students and pharmacy students in the team where they solve cases like real life scenarios where doctors and pharmacists have to work together. Yeah, so that is an idea that I have in mind in general for the portfolio. A new idea after the traditional PD events have been done successfully. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We have procedural motion from BPSA UK. BPSA UK, the floor is yours.
We'd like to proceed to close the discussion.
Do we have a seconder? Seconded by AFAP Austria. We will be performing votes via chat box. So okay, we have the candidate back with us, TK. You were cut while answering the question. You still have 30 seconds to finish your idea. I'm sorry.
Okay, I apologize.
Yes, you can.
Sorry, Chair. Do I have the floor? Sorry, Osama, do I have the floor?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for the floor. I believe I got dropped off at compounding events. So compounding, I was talking about. Yeah, thank you. I believe I got dropped off at compounding event. So what I was saying that if I were to be elected, I intend to try incorporating total parental nutrition as a thing for our members to consider. It's a very specialized one that we often do in pharmacy lab, but for us to consider in compounding. Yeah, that's all for me for now. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, thank you, PPSA UK, for the motion, seconded by AFAP Austria. We will be voting on the motion to close the floor for discussion through the chat box. Kishan has already prepared the chat box. Please type a Y now if you are in favor of closing the floor for discussion.
Usama, we need to repeat. We have ODs from the same member organization voting twice.
Okay. So we will be redoing the vote. Please make sure to coordinate with your with your colleagues from the same delegates on whom to cast the vote on behalf of your organization. All in favor of closing the floor for discussion, please type a Y in the chat box now. Okay, we have okay.
Okay,
So,
we have 23.
All right then. So next we will be voting whom against. Please cast your vote. It is important. It is mandatory for everyone to vote during any voting procedure. Since we have not reached a unanimous decision, we will be needing for the remaining.
Who's it's unanimous? We have 23 in favor.
23 in favor. All right then. Thank you. So we will be, thank you, Isaac. So we will be proceeding with the closed discussion. Please make sure to turn on your camera. The recording will be paused